Well, welcome back. Always great to have you here, Cynthia. And, I just have to ask you, how do you make things look so effortless? Because you are one of the most versatile actors I have ever spoken to.
That's very nice. Well, I always think about this thing that, Laurence Olivier was asked one time, what's the most important thing for a young actor to learn? And he said, it's how to become an old actor. And I really, I started really young. I started when I was 12, and there have been a lot of highs, some lows, but a lot of highs.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's really, particularly when you get, like, I turned 50 this year, and there's a certain thing that happens to you once you age out of your childbearing years, and just the parts, if you're lucky enough, they become really juicy.
Yes, and you have luckily, like I say, knock wood, we spoke last year, and you're playing this mother dying of cancer, and now Emily Dickinson. I mean, a dream role, this one?
A dream role, but very terrifying, intimidating, because I was such an Emily Dickinson fan from such an early age, and I think, so many of us have shyness issues, whether they're a parent or not. And if you have a shyness issue, like Garrison Keillor, who I love on the radio, he said, Emily Dickinson is the patron saint of shy persons.
Yeah. But really, I would not expect you to be shy. Like,
when I was younger, I think I was. But I think I felt like Emily Dickinson. Like, I might not look very, whatever, but inside there are worlds of passion and torment.
Yeah. I mean, what is it about her writing? It's such an amazing story, especially for the fact that they didn't even find her stuff until after she died, and all these volumes of her work. But what is it, do you think, that people relate to in her work, and why she became so popular?
Well, she's so personal. She's so confessional without being confessional. Do you know, she leaves a lot shrouded in terms of the actual facts of what she's referring to. It's hard to know, the metaphors are so potent, but it's hard to know exactly all the time what they're metaphors for, but someone is speaking from a very deeply personal experience, and so that has a big impact on you, and then you're sort of free to interpret it in a lot of different guises, and so you're able to graft your own stuff onto it, which is something that art does.
I mean, yes. I mean, who really hasn't studied her in school? And I mean, she's just so popular. And excuse me. And I know that Terrence, wrote this with you in mind. Flattering or scary?
Both. Kind of amazing. He said when he was writing it, he would watch Sex and the City with the sound off.
Okay, sorry, I just don't find the correlation between Miranda and...
Well, I think, I mean, it's not that I look somewhat like her.
Yes, you do.
I do look somewhat like her, but I think there's something about, I don't know, that he would watch my face. I have a very mobile face. I think that it is the kind of a combination of sort of shyness and ferocity.
Yeah. Amazing. What kind of a challenge was it for you to play somebody like her? Because there's a lot going on there. But did you have to prep? Like, did you even research about people who live in isolation, who have that fear, or was it just on the page for you?
I did a lot of reading. There are so many biographies of her, and some of them are very fat. And of course, I read her poems, and I read a lot of her letters, which I had already previously. I mean, I always had such an interest in her. But at the end of the day, I had to kind of put it aside at a certain point because, in the end, this is Terrence Davies' Emily Dickinson. This is not a historical. I mean, it has many historical facts in it and some historical fudges. But I think that, like so many of us, when Terrence stumbled upon her, and I think as an Englishman, we in America, we're raised on her, but I think it's different for people from other countries, because I think he sort of felt like he discovered her and she was his.
Yes.
And then he found so much in his life to relate to her. So what I had to do is I had to put my research aside to some extent and be like, Terrence Davies is our Emily Dickinson poet, and what he says she is like, that is what she's like.
Yeah, interesting. Do you love doing the period stuff, wearing those clothes? I mean, it's so beautifully shot, and it just looks gorgeous too. But is it like, is it a pain in the butt to have to put all that stuff on?
It is a bit, but there would be no way, obviously, to do it without.
Of course.
And there is something that is, wonderful about being able to put on a corset and put on a wig and feel what that's like, because so much of Emily's life was about constraint.
Yes.
So you want to be constrained in that way.
Yeah. Did you relate to her a lot, or in any way, like more than any other character that you've played before? She's so, there are so many fathoms to her that it's hard to know her because there's so much there. So of course I did find things that I related to very strongly, and I think what is nice also about our film is, I think she was 56 when she died. Yeah.
So we start with her as a young woman, and she goes through so many, even though she, dies in the town where she was born, and she dies, she doesn't travel far geographically, but so many things happen to her and so much tragedy. And
yes.
So it was one of the great pleasures of playing her, was also getting to play someone through all the stages of life, and who ends in a fairly unhappy place.
Yeah, I know. It's so sad. It really is.
Yeah.
Her life was so sad. And I was thinking too, when she was younger, she started to write, and she was told, don't bother. Like, she got rejections and stuff like that. And I think about it, like I think with actors too, I guess, like, do you have like a kind of a message to say to people who really want to do this job or whatever, and just keep going, like, don't listen sometimes to people who tell you?
Yes, but I mean, I think her history of not being very published before she died, it was largely something that happened to her.
Yeah.
But I think she had a lot of conflict within herself about whether that this was something to go after, fame and publication and being widely read. And of course, who knows how that would have completely changed her if she was a celebrity or a well-known literary figure as she was writing, because so much of what she is writing about is isolation and
Yeah, it's so fascinating. She's fascinating.
Yeah.
I have to ask you, because I know that you just shot Killing Reagan with Rod Lurie, who's a friend of mine. And,
oh, yes.
And so he's been posting all his pictures on Facebook, what he could and stuff. But wow, playing Nancy Reagan? I mean,
Yes.
okay, how much fun was that?
That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. And of course, it's very different. I mean, we have one photograph of Emily Dickinson. We have many, many,
Yes.
tens of thousands of photos of Nancy Reagan, and we have footage of her, and we have books that she's written.
Yeah.
And a complicated figure.
Yeah?
But I think, like pretty much everybody in the world, and some people more than others, a lot of what drove her was a feeling of not being good enough.
Yes.
And that striving for perfection and control.
I can't wait to see that. Oh my goodness.
I can't wait to see it either. I've just only seen clips.
I'm very excited. And just quickly, going to be back on the stage soon too?
Yes, I'm going to be doing The Little Foxes in the spring on Broadway with Laura Linney, and I are doing the two main female parts, and we're doing them in rep. So we're switching off night to night.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to get tickets. Absolutely. I love coming to Broadway. Well, always a pleasure to talk to you.